Welcome to the PTTS. Today's date is January 30th, 2026. My name is Nang Hong Lam. The question that is constantly won't leave me alone is, how did I get sung so low? And I don't know, I think basically my situations or my current status quo is just make me like a victim of inferior status, kind of like in a way very complicated. Don't know where to begin. And that question that I was saying earlier that won't leave me alone, how I got sung so low, it's just not, like how it's gonna start, like where should I start on 1990 back when I was around 6 to 7 years old? Or should I start when I at 1992, October 1992, when I immigrated to the USA when I was around 8 years old? Or should I start, because back in 1990 I had the leadership, even though I still was like 6 to 7 years old, but I have leadership responsibility and duty, like child leadership responsibility and duty of a group of children who is around my age. And so kind of like in a way could have related to that, or like maybe because I have now became immigrant status on October 1992, it could also be related to that. And then on 1993, when I created the M10 combat lead in Count Point Elementary School campus, is also related to that. So when, where do I start? Kind of like each events in my life could also point to why I'm in my situations, and why I have my current status quo slash, or like I was saying, where to start, basically, like and why, one of the problem that I have to deny is just really upsetting, just like the thought of I couldn't get one feedback on my PTTS blog for 9 years. It's just, if I don't deny, and like I brought it up, even though like I have brought it up a lot, but it felt like each time I bring it up, it's just very painful, it's just like, how could, it's just like, I don't know, like, we're kind of like in a way until, I don't know, someone, it's like, why couldn't just one person have a little bit of, I don't know, like maybe living together and sharing, like, and just leave me a feedback on my PTTS blog, on my YouTube channel. Why can't just one person do that? Just like, what's the point of living together and sharing? It's like, so, kind of like in a way, I have to deny this thing. It makes the whole, it's very confusing. Why did that's why, like, it's really hard to talk about it, because it's more like I have to deny these things, it's like, and living in denial is very hard, it's like, so I don't, like, I'm saying maybe, I don't know, maybe just having some, I'm saying, living denial and having some faith that on the living together and sharing, that there is people who like this, like the people in general still have that in them, to have that, able to live together and sharing and things like that. Okay, I pretty much, like, for now, just have to go with that. I don't know, like, pretty much just have to be under the mercy of San Diego, because I don't know how it all got to end up in this situation. Either you felt like you have that sharing and living together to take that step to come to me, or to leave me a feedback on my PTTS blog, on my YouTube channel, or approach me, and wanted to have a one-on-one interview with me, and things like that, just ways that show that you have that living together and sharing. I don't know, maybe that could never happen. Let's just say, okay, just say, maybe that's what I want to know, if that could happen to me or not. I felt more or less like I've been denying for a long time this question, like if that could happen to me or not, like one person who leave me a feedback on my PTTS blog or my YouTube channel, or a person who approached me and have that living together and sharing in them, to kind of want to have a talk about my situation and things like that. So I felt maybe been denying that for a long time, that, so that I I don't have to feel very discouraged that could never happen to me, and I will probably just die a very lonely person, and just to basically to not feel so discouraged, to know that I'm gonna die a lonely person without able to feel any of a person who have that in them, to able to live together and sharing. I'm that's why I have to keep denying, just to not feel so discouraged that I I can't have that, like that from one person, felt it's very discouraged at life, to have to live that way, and that's why to deny that, it's just don't need to face that, it's like just denying it, just like, anyway, basically that's pretty much, like that I've been denying for a long time, like that's my life, that I have to die alone without anyone showing me any living together and sharing and things like that. So kind of like I've been denying that for a very long time, and I don't know, like, and it's just very like I'm saying, it's just number one, how did I get sunk so low? Like to be in the situations. And number two, how my situation created, why. So this, like, and then this denial. So kind of like in a way, I don't know, like, just the thought of, meeting a person that able to show me that, that I could have that living together and sharing. It's like, I don't know, like, maybe, like, and yet, looking at my competition, like league and trophy perspective, like I have 2 trophy belt, like the regional TCG championship title and undisputed empty-handed combat title, and also a lot of trophy in the war and things like that, and in a range of competitions. So kind of like in a way, it's just like it's very, I don't know, like have to deny this thing also. Why is my trophy and a war doesn't have any effect? It's like, so another denial I have denied. It's like, why is my trophy and the war have no effect in San Diego? It's just like, so, like this thing, denial about it's gonna be a lonely person my whole life, die, denying about this thing that not one person could show me living together and sharing and have to die alone, and so kind of this and also denying about like my trophies and the war have no effect in San Diego, it's like, so I don't know, like when will someone, you know, really take that step that to prove that this whole setup is messed up, that they're capable of showing they're able to live together and sharing. When would that one person able to step up and do that? It's like that they have that ability in them to able to live together and share. It's like when is that one person gonna step out and do that and stop bandwagging with other people, it's like step up and do that and stop bandwagging with, when's will that one person able to do that, step up and show that he or she have that ability to live together and share, and also that, to also to know that my trophy and award, why does my trophy, to know the answer to this question, why is my trophy and award have no effect in San Diego? So kind of like in a way, so for now, I'm just gonna keep it. My situation is still very, very hard, and there's a lot of questions, and that to really know what happened, like how did it get to my situation, would have to kind of like point out each events in my life, and that to really know like thoroughly about how did my situation happen. And like I'm just saying, yet at the same, okay, so pretty much I have to keep it at that for now. It's just, like I felt maybe it's just at the end, it's just gonna be, I can't no longer endure, like why not one person able to step up and show me that he or she have that ability in him or her that could live together and sharing, just like I know what you have that in you, it's like when are you gonna take that step and step it up and show me that to me, it's like basically another word for living together and sharing is like diplomacy. In a way, like that would be like another word for that. It's kind of like in a way, you know. So kind of like in a way, I for now just have to keep it at that. It's just very upsetting to hear me talk about it. Upsetting for me, upsetting for my surrounding. Kind of like in a way, my surrounding felt like, if you in general, you look at a person, you know, like as the general public, that each person felt like they have that in them, able to show that they could live together and sharing. So kind of like in a way, they felt upsetting, why they can't do that, why, what's stopping them from doing that, so kind of like, so being accused that they can't do that could be upsetting to them, and also upsetting to me that no one has able to show that to me, that they're able to live together and sharing also. In in the past, I just keep saying that, kind of like in a way, just endure it by saying that I'm in a situation or my life is cursed, or I'm being tormented daily, just kind of like in a way so that I could continue on living each day, because I have a lot of things to do in my life, each day and everything. So it can't, like right now, it's already been almost 20 minutes, like, and what if all of this 20 minutes, what I'm saying right now, if I'm in a conference with a crowd of people, it would have been a more a better way, it's like it would have served a better purpose and everything. So kind of like in a way, and but I'm in my kitchen right now, and it's like 4 a.m. in the morning. Still like, people probably still haven't probably wake up yet. It's still very early in the morning, and I'm in my kitchen. There's no one around. I don't know, like it just, and it's not like it's just like I've been doing this, like been making these arguments. It's not like I've been just recently doing it, it's been doing for a very long time. It's like, anyway, like there is this pause button in this camcorder like I'm using right now. Like there's the pause button, so you could see me like pause along the way so that I could, like just, it's because some of the topic I'm talking about is very important and everything, so I have to, pause it to see I have anything to add to it, or like give myself a little bit of time in between. So you could see me like pausing in between like what I'm saying and things like that. I think what I'm doing these, like even though like I have been for a long time, very long time, many years already, been, like making these arguments and talking about my situation and things like that. But at the same time, like taking even extra like steps these steps is because just don't want to one day suddenly just, that fill in the blank, like just sort of like I just don't feel like I have to, kind of like in a way, that my situation, it's already very devastating, that it doesn't have to, I don't have to like punish myself by saying that I could even be in worse situation, like in worst case scenario and things like that. It's just like my situation's already very devastating. That's why I use the word like fill in the blank. Instead of saying, my situation could get worse, and I could be in worst case scenario and things like that. It's already very devastating. More or less, I felt that I'm regretting, back then, during the years where was still considered as, there was the living together and sharing at the time. Back when, during the part of my life that I felt that there was still that, the living together and sharing, and there were people, like mainly more like just family and relative members saying that, remember, I don't know, like regret back then, didn't, like stop them from saying these things to me, like they were, back then, they would give me these phrases that, like I have a very good looking face, and it's like a fortune to have that very looking face, like, could be a very wealthy person and could, like able to meet other wealthy person like me and things like that. It's like back then, felt like maybe should have stopped them from saying those, giving me those phrases. It's like kind of like in a way, like because they have say that to me, giving me those phrases, and that the past felt like, and why is it not happening? It's like, why did they give me those phrases when it's not happening to me? Why did they give me those phrases when look at my life, look at my situation? Those phrases are not happening to me. Why did they give me those phrases? And it felt like, have to, crush myself because they, in the past, there were family and relatives who have gave me those phrases. So kind of like in a way, that's why I felt, maybe should have kind of like stop them, like maybe say something back, stop messing with me, maybe I'm gonna be having a tough time in the future if that doesn't happen to me. Maybe back then should have really step up and be very, serious about those phrases they gave me, like stopping them, hey, stop, stop messing with me. What if I ran into like some really tough adversity, and those phrases you gave me didn't happen. It's like, should say something back like that. Stop messing with me, giving me those phrases. What if in the future I run into some very serious adversity, and those phrases you're giving me is not happening to me, and things like that. Okay, so right now I'm brainstorming that I would title this video as my situation and diplomacy, and basically just all these things that I have said in this video is things I just been holding in for a long time, like been like that question basically, like that is keep bothering me, kind of like in a way, how did I get sung so low? So basically all these things I'm saying is just like, kind of like that question basically just been bothering me that I have to say it, and it's kind of like it can't continue holding in anymore. I have to say something about it. But I felt like, it would have been more effective if I'm in a conference with a crowd of people than, right now I'm in my kitchen by myself. I felt it was more effective if I'm in a conference with a crowd of people than being in my kitchen by myself and things like that. Okay, so thank you for watching PTTS. Thank you for following PTTS. I'm going to end the session in 3, 2, 1.